Today I have Div with me. What is that you're doing currently and what have you done in the past?
Started my journey building companies like Google at Google Brain, Nvidia, Apple, Uber. I was like the number one employee at like a hardware company. This was like a humanoid robotics company called Collaborative Robotics. I was doing a PhD at Stanford in various domains, like can you play video games like Minecraft, control robotic arms using language. PhD was like can you build an AI assistant that can control the browser, can do things for you. And we went super viral. We got over 1 million views on our first launch video.
The first time I came to know about you and your company was because I saw a picture of yours with Andrew. Have you guys done something together?
Like deep learning AI courses, and like we also have done some like marketing together. And Andrew has just been a big supporter of what we're building.
Let's move to your company and what are you doing?
We started this as a research lab. So our goal was like we want to go and really figure out, can we like train models that, like at scale, especially targeting like on-device deployments, and like what does that look like in terms of personalization, building trust with users. They're trying to run LLMs on a laptop or a phone. There's so many issues because there's device constraints regarding memory, your battery can overheat, a lot of like things that can go wrong. Suppose like we want to live in a world where there was no cloud models, and we were like, okay, let's go and like only have like edge models. What does that world look like, and can we like engineer for it?
Cloud has gotten so much better in the last, especially 8 months. I don't know, it's been an exponential increase in terms of accuracy and all that. What is it about it? Like, is it the model? Is it the harness? Is it the way things are happening?
Now we are reaching this phase, like these things, systems are mature and are creating like production value. It's like kind of like a sigmoid curve. So we were kind of like still early around here on the bottom, like last year, when it comes to like building harnesses and like reliable agents. And now we are kind of here when it comes to build, like having agents that are actually working. And I think we'll probably like saturate this thing and we'll start moving to more like systems of agents and like how can agents coordinate with each other.
I'm sure like there are so many other systems which are like really good right now in terms of accuracy and long horizon agents. And yet both Anthropic and OpenAI have set up these consulting / deployment companies. There are two schools of thoughts, right? Like one, AGI will happen and your company's name is that. And the other one is, no, like we will still need humans for a lot of stuff where you get stuck.
Most problems you can break down into like actual execution, and the second phase is like verification. A lot of the low level ICO work will be done by like AI, like coding, design, maybe like a lot of like writing, for example. So I think that's what's going to happen to the economy. So it's like a lot of like humans will be working as kind of like goal setters or like sort of like verifiers or feedback mechanism in a sense, where overall like the fundamental like the drivers of like execution becomes automatic.
Right. Also for young entrepreneurs who are now building, a lot of engineering folks, like they think that there's a problem, they talk to a few people and then they start building, and then one of the challenge they usually come across is how to sell, how to acquire customers and so on, and do partnerships. I believe that you got Qualcomm and Visa and Lenovo very early on in this. Can you explain the process behind how you went about it? How do you got these guys and how did you convince them?
Build AI, push the limit. Conversations with no gimmick. Tech and juice collide in sync. That you're on, don't stop to think.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Build AI podcast. Today I have Div with me, and we are going to have a very interesting discussion about various topics in AI. But before we jump in, Div, from your perspective, can you give us a quick background of what is that you're doing currently and what have you done in the past?
Sure. So like just to give a personal background, I've been in the AI space for almost a decade now. Started my journey building at companies like Google Brain, like at Google Brain, Nvidia, Apple, Uber, a lot of like top secret AI projects at the time. And my career span over working on like self-driving cars, a lot of like stuff with like computer vision, reinforcement learning. Eventually, it was like the number one employee at a hardware company. This was like a humanoid robotics company called Collaborative Robotics that started like way back. They're funded by they started before ChatGPT, so that was like 2021, something like that. And they're funded by Sequoia, Jeff Bezos, and like a lot of the phenomenal folks in the system. So that was my first startup experience. Got to learn a lot about like how the industry works, how can you build something phenomenal and like grow. And along my journey, I was doing a PhD at Stanford, where a lot of my thesis was around like how do you build like reinforcement learning at scale. So like how can you have AI agents that can do things for you in various domains, like can you play video games like Minecraft? Can you actually like control robotic arms using language? And that was some fun things we did. And eventually, like one of my projects, which started as like a side hobby, doing a PhD, was can you build an AI assistant that can control the browser, can do things for you. And we went super viral. We got over 1 million views on our first launch video. We started that project a month after ChatGPT came out. So that was in January of 2023 in that ballpark, and it was really fun. We were one of the first agents out there. Got super viral, and then eventually all the VCs in the space, like Vinod Khosla, a bunch of other folks, reached out to me, and we had really amazing traction. And we had like 100,000 people signed up in a day, and we were like, okay, like this makes sense. Let's go and do this. So I decided to like eventually put my PhD in a pause and go
And
do
that
that as a
and that was MultiOn, or it was like AGI?
that was MultiOn. Yeah. So we started that like as one of the first agent startups in the Valley.
Amazing. So let me ask you this, because there's a lot of young guys probably somewhere in their journey, like some of them are still at college, I believe, who are listening to this podcast. Why did you go and why did you want to do a PhD, first of all? It's a very basic question, but it helps. Sometimes people are thinking about it. Should I go for a PhD? Of course, you did it at Stanford, so it's not like it's already like, there's so many reasons for doing that. And then after doing that, why did you decide to start like an AI company, especially an agentic AI company?
Sure. One is like I've always been very fascinated with AI, and like it almost seems like magic if you think about it, right? It's like the only way you can accelerate a lot of developments, and it's like next big thing in technology. So even when I was in high school, I actually did a lot of physics. I did some like international physics Olympiads, and for me, it seemed like a lot of hard sciences like physics and like biology were kind of saturated. There has been not very big innovations in the last decades, and it seemed like okay, like with AI, like a lot of these problems can be cried, and there seems to be something that can happen very fast. And so I decided to kind of like focus like a lot of my undergrad and graduate like studies on like okay, like I really want to figure out like how can we build like really intelligent systems that are like valuable to society and can like create value and utility in terms of making like everyday life better. And then it was like really like understanding like in depth like okay, like what's happening here, how do you build this like neural networks, how do you like do reinforcement learning, what is the mathematics behind the scene. And that fascinated me a lot, and like throughout my journey to eventually like, lead me to my Stanford PhD. And a lot of this was just like I will call it like an intellectual curiosity. I was not really looking to kind of like go and be like I want to eventually launch a startup in this space, or I want to go like join OpenAI and like make millions of dollars or something like that. It was kind of like yeah, just like a really interesting problem. And it seems like it's probably one of the most fascinating things I can work in my lifetime.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And of course, like you were early, and like I remember me and my CTO, we were playing around with building AI system in WhatsApp with 23 agents and a supervisory agent. This was before a lot of these AI assistants had come out. This was like mid of 2024, and you started before that. I think a lot of context is very interesting when people sort of think about how things have changed. Like, so can you compare between 23 till now, how the whole sort of capabilities behind the models, as well as, in the application layer, how things have changed?
Yeah, I would say like things have moved very fast. So like I would say like what people were building in like 2023 was almost like very rudimentary. It was like you're trying to build something while you are in like I don't know, like the copper age or something. While we are now in like the very developed like steam engine phase where like okay, things are just moving very fast. And I think it was kind of like very open problem. People didn't know what will work. Everyone was trying everything, and I think the biggest innovation that has happened is around reliability. The systems didn't used to be reliable, so it was like there was just too much vibe building in a sense, and you don't know like if AI is actually useful. And AI was not creating a lot of economic value like how it is right now. So like that was almost 0% at the point, except for some very specific examples. AI used to work in very specific vertical domains, but just over the last 2 years now, you have so good general purpose reasoning and like multimodality, and like you can just do tool calling with like a single like a cloud agent, and like ask it to pretty much do everything. So that sort of unified systems, I think, has just been a big breakthrough in the field.
Right. And specifically, I want to ask you, like, for example, we have all been using, ChatGPT and Claude, and the Claude has gotten so much better in the last, especially 8 months. I don't know, it's been an exponential increase in terms of accuracy and all that. What is it about it? Like, is it the model? Is it the harness? Is it the way things are happening? I think, the audience would really love to know what's, from your perspective, what do you think has changed really in the last 6-8 months?
Yeah, one is like I think we have started to crack the problem around scale. So like so I think the biggest again like one is like maturity. So last year we were still early, so a lot of these things were experiments or prototypes. Now we are teaching this phase like these things systems are mature and are creating like production level value. And then so we've been thinking about like okay, like what does that like industry level maturity looks like. And I think like the biggest drivers of this has just been scale of data. Like now we are able to like collect massive amounts of data that can be synthetic or like also generated by reinforcement learning. Like we now have like very advanced algorithms to learn from like feedback, like GRPO, and like some of the breakthroughs that happened last year. And I think that scale has kind of like allowed us to go from like a curve, which is like most technologies have a curve. It's like kind of like a sigmoid curve. So we were kind of like still early around here on the bottom, like last year, when it comes to like building harnesses and like reliable agents. And now we are kind of here when it comes to build like having agents that are actually working. And I think we'll probably like saturate this thing, and we'll start moving to more like systems of agents, and like how can agents coordinate with each other. I think like that's starting to happen, but it's still early. It's like we don't have very reliable like multi-agent systems. For example, like my agent can't talk to your agent and I automatically do things. So I think that will be a
Yeah.
big trend like next year. Yeah.
Yeah. And yet with all this, like, the, Claude Code, and I'm sure like there are so many other systems which are like really good right now in terms of accuracy and long horizon agents. And yet both Anthropic and OpenAI have set up these consulting / deployment companies, because the word on the street is that, AI can still do like 95 or 99% of the work. You still need humans in the loop, but also for like sometimes, integration, sometimes for deployment purposes. And there's so many things, you have to think through the problems. And so how do you think about that evolving? Do you think like you are there are two school of thoughts, right? Like one, AGI will happen and your company's name is that. And the other one is no, like we will still need humans for a lot of stuff where you get stuck.
Right. Yeah. It's I think what's happening is like most problems you can break down into like actual execution, and the second phase is like verification, and that's kind of like being an IC versus being a manager. And what's starting to happen, a lot of the low level IC work will be done by like AI, and we've already started to see that with like coding, design, maybe like a lot of like writing, for example. And
Right.
what happens with like humans like right now is like we're on the manager position in a sense, so we are giving like reward signals, feedback, corrections. Okay, like this was not done right. Can you correct like improve this draft, or like like the language that's used? So I think that's what's going to happen to the economy. So it's like a lot of like humans will be working as kind of like goal setters, or like sort of like verifiers or feedback mechanism in a sense. Whereas like overall like the fundamental like the drivers of like execution becomes automatic.
Right. So let's move to your company, and what are you doing there? So I believe like did you like spin this out of MultiOn, or was it started as a separate company? I'm not sure about that part. So can you throw some light on it?
Yeah, we started this as a like it's like a separate entity, like a separate company from MultiOn, and we started this as a research lab. So our goal was like we want to go and really figure out, can we like train models that, like at scale, especially on the like targeting like on device deployments, and like what does that look like in terms of personalization, building trust with users. There's a lot of like low level stuff we do. Like it's very hard to run like again like it's like if you're trying to run LLMs on a laptop or a phone, there's so many issues because there's device constraints regarding memory. Your battery can overheat. You have to think about like a lot of like things that can go wrong. And then we have to think about like first principle wise, like suppose like we want to live in a world where there was no cloud models, and we were like, okay, let's go and like only have like edge models. What does that world look like, and can we like engineer for it? And we realized like no one was doing.
No, absolutely. It's a use case that I would want to get it solved, because on the phone, you can't wait to every time anchor a request on ChatGPT or Claude and then wait for the answer to come. Like there are some very simple things that you want to do quickly. And I think on-device AI can help with that. Is it true like AI gave me this research that you had a near $1 million OpenAI offer? I was not sure, so I wanted to ask you like what.
Yeah, I think like when I was like leaving my PhD to start MultiOn, I think there was a lot of interest from OpenAI for me to like go join them, and they were looking to spin up a agentic team. I was chatting with like Amit Goel at the time. He was looking to recruit me into like OpenAI while I was still working there, and then yeah, so I think like it was like interesting to like see like the opportunities. And eventually I decided to decline. I was like, okay, like it's more fun to go and build your own company and see like, and then like, and I think the growth that happens in building a company is just crazy. It's just like you learn so much that you can't learn in a like a normal job.
Yeah, but that also, and I'm just like that, right? I have gone through like this is my third time, right? So people ask me like, are you crazy? Like, why would you choose the path of pain and suffering? Same question to you. Like, you like, yeah. What's your answer?
Like again, like I would say one is like the just having a growth mindset. I feel like it's definitely like more pain, but it's like if you just think about like the amount of learning I could have done in 1 year, I think I got the maximum amount of learning and like kind of like improvement across every skill I have. And that's very, very hard. Like I think like that was very compressed learning that would have taken me 10 years if I was in a like a normal corporate like ladder like structure where like you learn like things sequentially. And Startups are more of like adventures, like you're on a roller coaster and you're like, okay, like yeah, like problems just hit you anytime, and then you're just like learning to adapt and like improve. But I do think that's kind of like the best way you can like improve yourself in a sense. Like if you have like high pain tolerance and you're like, yeah, I just want to go and like solve problems. And I think that's kind of like if you look at the best entrepreneurs like Elon Musk or even like Jensen, they're like, yeah, like we just want to go and like make things happen, and we have confidence that we can solve any problem that comes our way. And I think that, and that's why
Right.
they're so successful, and they have like such big like future vision about like what's happening in the world.
Yeah. I think being driven by mission and vision, and then also, yeah, I think it's a little bit of a irrational decision to start a company, but as you said, right, those are the reasons why you do it. Also, for young entrepreneurs who are now building, a lot of engineering folks, like they think that there's a problem, they talk to a few people and then they start building, and then one of the challenge they usually come across is how to sell, how to acquire customers, and so on, and do partnerships. I believe that you got Qualcomm and Visa and Lenovo very early on in this. Can you explain the process behind how you went about it? How do you got these guys, and how did you convince them?
Yeah, like okay, like it's like I can't talk about like all the details, but maybe also like the bottom line is one is just focus, like what you want to accomplish as a company. I think it's so easy to get distracted on the day to day, especially as first time entrepreneur. There's so many things to learn and do it. And I think it's very good to have a high level focus. Like this is the thing that matters, and that's usually customers. It's not even like investors or like amount of researchers you have. It's like okay, like do you have customers who are willing to pay you? And then like it's like how do you like really convince them that you are the right team, you know what you're doing, you can like get to that phase. And I think we're just like very focused on like okay, like we know like edge is AI is going to be very big, especially with like agents and like all these things that are happening. But then we want to really go and work with the right players who are already thinking about this and who have seen these problems, and then we can go and like co-design with them, can we co-solve with them. And people really like the approach. People like some of the only companies who were approaching them at the time were like on device, and the things like in these companies they know the problems, so they know these problems better than investors. So if you go to an investor like last year and say like I'm building an on device, they'll be like okay, like what is wrong with you? We don't know what the market looks like. But if you go to like a company that is like already like very established in the field, like Lenovo or like Visa, for example, like they have thought about like the next 5 years, and like so they already have a roadmap around it, and they know like on device is something they want to like approach, and like it's like people have not been coming up with solutions. So the problem is like people have not been approaching them with enough
Yeah.
solutions, and it's just a scarcity instead of like and then I think and people like it. Like it's like if we can go and like help them solve this problem, which they know is going to come up and bite them in the future, and that has allowed us to like sort of like just be one of the early pioneers and like get a lot of these relationships built in.
Very nice. That makes a lot of sense. I believe the same question, right, on the growth and customer acquisition, same theme. I believe you have or you had a wait list of about like 500,000 people. So how did you drive that type of growth? Would be interesting to know.
Yeah, a lot of that was we have a very good marketing team. We did like a lot of viral engagement, and we did our first big launch that was of January 1st, 2026 this year, and we announced like what we are doing to the world on like on device, especially with building an AI that can use your phone. And the tagline we have been using is like imagine Siri if it actually works, and and what can that look like? And then we envision a future where like suppose you have a voice operated interface where like you don't even have to have any app installed on your phone. It's a fully appless phone. I just talk to it, everything just happens. And if you can build that world, I think that is going to be phenomenal.
It will be. In fact, the WhatsApp AI product that I was talking about, it went to number one product on ProductHunt globally that we had built late 2024. And basically, I like we had figured out that voice could be very interesting on a phone, right? If you could actually get all of this work to be done by just speaking to the phone, it will be amazing. So we had a very because that time LLM capability was also limited. We had to build our own tool calling and everything. But in WhatsApp, the native voice button, we could use it to basically write your email and schedule a meeting, create a Calendly type link on the fly. And the voice was the most used feature on our platform by the users. I can totally, like, as a user also, I can say that if I don't have to even open the phone, and if Siri could actually work, it will be amazing. So where are we in terms of the product, and when do we get to use it?
Yeah. So like the primary business model we have at AGI is more B2B2C, where we're directly working with like OEMs that stands for like original equipment manufacturers. That's are like companies who build devices. And so anyone who like any company that's building like a phone or maybe even like laptops, other devices, we're working with them on how can our AI come embedded within them. So like it's like if I'm a consumer, I just want to like buy a new phone, can our AI come built in? and power that experience. So that's like one big thing we're doing right now, and we do have like some consumer like I will call it like a beta that we have been running more as an experiment to just like learn like how people like to use this AI and how can we make it more magical for them. And we haven't have a like I'll call it like it's a beta product that's access only on the Google Play Store right now. And I think it's
Nice.
just, if you go to Google Play Store, search for AGI, you can actually find us. We're the top listing for that, and it's a private beta where if someone is interested, we can send you an access code.
And it works on both Android and iPhone?
Right now, the beta we're running publicly is for Android, but we do have an iPhone project that we'll be we're privately testing right now.
Okay. So for example, if I have an Android phone, I go to the Play Store, I download your app, and then I will need some sort of a passcode, you said. So what's the way to get it?
Yeah, you can request we have a waitlist. I can send you the link. It's like join.agi.app, and then you can ask
Okay.
you can ask for your email, and then we'll send you an access code. We have an automatic system to do that.
Okay.
And then also anyone can reach out directly to me or or like our company emails.
If you're okay, what we'll also do is when we publish the podcast in the YouTube description and all that, we'll probably put the process of trying out the product. Cool. And so basically you are B2B2C. So I'm guessing like you have some of these customers we were talking about earlier, and so at some point of time people will start using edge computing or AI on the devices. So what do you see the future like? Where do you want to see this going?
Yeah, like a really big thing right now is like the cost of intelligence. So if you have been following some of the reports in the industry, companies are now spending more on like tokens than employees. And so people, yeah, and then so a lot of the expenditure that's happening right now is on like buying cloud tokens or OpenAI tokens or whatever other service you use, and then paying to power that intelligence. And I think that we imagine that might balloon up to possibly up to 95% over the next year, as a lot of companies become more optimized, and a lot of the low level stuff can be will run on automatic cadence. And I think we're just thinking about what happens in a world where literally so much expense is just compute and intelligence, and this expense is increasing. It's not going down, and so we think on device has to step in as a way to decrease this cost over time, and this will become a very big thing regarding solving accessibility. Because if intelligence is very expensive and not many people can afford spending that much, then if we can actually bring those cost of tokens to be basically be on device models, that becomes almost $0. Then you don't have to worry about how much raw amount of money you're spending on just calling your agent, because it's running for free. And that is a world we want to live in, where instead of very crazy expenditures on running cloud models that is powered by the token based pricing in the field right now, how a lot of that can run directly on your device.
Right. So the current product that you are shipping, or the beta product, what kind of models it uses? Is it your own that you're developing?
Yeah, we have our own models that we have developed. We have a lot of innovation happening on the architecture side, and we directly work with teams at Qualcomm. We're writing our own kernels and C++ and as low level as you can go. A lot of that libraries, for example, with working on Qualcomm SoC chips, it's not even public, so it's very hard to kind of optimize against that. And we build a great team that can do it. So now we have models that are 4 billion size and 1 billion size, and some even smaller that are directly running on the phones.
Amazing. How big is the team, Div, and how is it split in terms of engineering and all that?
Yeah, also we are around roughly 20 people, and a lot of that is core R&D and research. We also have a small a GTM team that's focusing on our enterprise motions and expanding our customer base. But what we've done is we just hired some of the best Stanford PhDs and a lot of folks out from other frontier labs, and really focus on the on-device part, because that is one thing that's been missing in the industry.
Right. And I believe you're also adjunct faculty at Stanford. So how does that work out, and what do you do, and how much time goes into that?
Yeah, I created one of the first courses at Stanford on transformers. This was again before ChatGPT went super viral. It's called CS25 Transformers United, and right now the course is in its sixth offering. So we've been running this over 4 years now, and I'm helping as an adjunct lecturer and faculty on running that course series. And so I think I like the time to interact with students and sort of learn what's happening at the low level. And it's not, I would say I just enjoy doing it. So I'm doing it on the side.
Yeah. In fact, something very related. So the first time I came to know about you and your company was because I saw a picture of yours with Andrew Ng. And talk about that. Like, talk a little bit about Andrew and your association, and have you guys done something together?
We did stuff with his like deep learning AI courses, and like we also have done some like marketing together. And Andrew has just been a big supporter of what we're building. So he has helped with some of our connections to other key partners and players in the space. I think he just knows everyone in the industry, so that's been has been very helpful.
Yeah, right. So let's switch to the last part of this. I want to talk to you about generally the AI space and what is hype and what is reality, right? How do you look at things? So tell us a little bit about how are you seeing the outside, like apart from your company, what's happening in the space? What do you think is hype? What do you think is underhyped?
Yeah, so there's obviously like a lot of hype around what the frontier labs are doing. A lot of these companies are going to IPO, and they're spending like crazy amount of marketing dollars on just obviously making sure like they are like the front and foremost in people's mind. But I think like, sometimes you have to like look like behind, like sort of like in the more in the future and like behind the scenes, like what will this industry look like 3 years from now or 5 years from now, and what can some innovation happen that is not happening right now. And I think that's where we are focused on, like especially on the like how can we run things on the edge. What will the future of maybe like devices look like? Like, will you have like new kind of AI devices, phones, and privacy is a big thing here that I think is missing in the field. So like if you think about it, like almost no one is thinking about privacy, and it's kind of a missing factor where like a lot of your data is like directly going to the models and so getting used to like make them better and better. We have been thinking about like okay, like fundamentally privacy starts from like almost like you don't even have to trust a party. It's like asking fundamentally like we'll do something that's directly running on your laptop or any other or your phone or any other device, and you don't even have to trust anyone like to get guaranteed privacy. And you own the
Right.
data, you own the models, like they can personalize. They can like the thing is like once I have full trust, okay, like maybe like I trust this AI agent like say like that can do things like OpenClaw, but it's running on the device and I have full trust of it and I can give it access to everything, including my passwords and wallets. And it's a very free world in that sense. And like, okay, like it can watch my screen, it can understand what I'm doing. It just knows literally everything about me 100% better than any other person. And I'm comfortable with it just because it's like, it's fully private and I can trust it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some really good advantages with on-device AI. As you said, cost is one of them, privacy is another one. And there's I can see so much, like if, as you said, right, that will stay with me, that if Siri was actually useful. So your aim and your goal is very clear, like where you want to reach. Tell me a little bit about like how, like, so you have you raised money, and how did you go about it, how many rounds you have done, and such.
Yeah, we have raised I think we have raised a couple of rounds in the company's history. We raised like $10 million. Like that was a PC last year, where Menlo was one of the biggest checks, along with some of the phenomenal other funds and angels, like from like various renowned places. And we have another round we have closed recently that I can't talk about, but we're just like executing very fast in terms of how do we get out there and like really show like this kind of on-device AI is ready to be put out in the market and be used.
Right. And really, like, just one or two last questions. So, if there was a young founder, basically trying to build something new in the AI space, are there like areas that you feel like you haven't seen enough, or if you're not doing AGI, you would probably be doing that?
A lot of things around like hard sciences, for example, isn't solved. I'll be very excited to see like can people start applying AI to fields like physics, for example, where like there's so many unsolved problems that have been just been bottlenecked by like almost like intellectual capacity. And like it's like string theory, for example, like people just don't understand it because it's like you need to think in like 42 dimensions, and like that's not like what a human mind can encapsulate. But can you train an AI that can like think in like very high level dimensions and like really understand like maybe the fundamentals of the universe? And that's very interesting. Similarly, like it's like there's like so much things you can do with like nanoscience and like developing new medicines, like biology, and I think that's very exciting. Where like it's like because people know the unsolved problems. Like the only thing that has been like bottlenecking is like human intelligence, and
Yeah.
if we can apply AI very natively to these things, I think we will flourish as a race over time.
Yeah. So we need to give Sheldon the latest models, LLM models, to do something on the string theory. That's great. And
Exactly.
one last thing. So apart from work and all the great things that you're doing, what do you do in your free time?
Yeah, like I like to like go on hikes or like play tennis, and we have like a hiking group with a bunch of founders that I spend time with. But yeah, just like sort of like just being connected, and especially that's very important in this race, where like it's like there's so much happening, and I think you just need to like kind of still like have that human connection, and like not get wrong.
Absolutely. That's a great one. So on that note, Div, it was great talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. And
Thanks.
I'm sure audience will learn a lot from it. So thank you.
Totally, yeah.